Macron's Congress speech. Live, French president attacks the illusion of nationalism. French President Emmanuel Macron harshly criticized nationalism and told the U.S. there is the need to step up our game to face global threats while addressing the U.S. Congress on the last day of his visit to the USA. Speaking in front of Congress, U.S. Vice President Mike Pence and his wife Brigitte, Mr. Macron urged the U.S. to leave behind isolationism and join France in his fight against nationalisms that are tearing apart the world built after World War II. Arguing that multilateralism is the answer to the global threats faced by the world today, he added that coming together won't outshine national cultures or identities. He also said that massive deregulation and extreme nationalism won't solve the inequality problems created by globalism. He added, "I do not share the fascination for new strong powers, the abandonment of freedom and the illusion of nationalism. We can choose isolationism, withdrawal and nationalism. This is an option. It can be tempting to us as a temporary remedy for our fears, but closing the door to the world will not stop the evolution of the world." The French president took the time to address the Iran nuclear deal, firmly supporting it. He said, "Iran shall never possess any nuclear weapons. Not now. Not in 5 years. Not in 10 years. Never. That is my position." He added, "We should not abandon the Iran nuclear deal without having something more substantial instead." The Iran deal is one of the key issues that he and U.S. President Donald Trump discussed during his visit. Despite the close relationship between the two world leaders, Mr. Trump on Tuesday still looked firmly against the deal, calling it insane and ridiculous. Mr. Macron started his speech by highlighting the close relationship that have linked the U.S. and France throughout history. Going back to the very foundation of the United States of America and the French Republic, he said the two nations have forged an unbreakable bond over democratic values. He said France and the U.S. have in common ideals of liberty, tolerance and equal rights but share also painful memory. Remembering the terrorist attacks that hit both the U.S. and France, he pledged that the two nations will fight terrorism together. Building upon these shared values, he asked Western countries to step up their game to maintain the perennial principle established following World War II. He called for ways to address inequalities created by globalization, attacks on democracy and the threats faced by democracies from new powers and criminal states. The French president also asked the U.S. to join France in building a 21st-century world order. Using the Facebook scandal involving the use of millions of social media users' data by Cambridge Analytica as a starting point, he called for the US and the EU to create a world where digital information and data of private citizens are better protected. Mr. Macron then hinted at the trade war started by Mr. Trump with his tariffs on steel, saying the world needs free and fair trade. He added, "Commercial war will destroy jobs, and the middle class will have to pay for it." Addressing another issue he renownedly cared about, the French president also spoke about the current state of planet Earth. He said that polluted oceans, unmitigated CO2 emissions and the destruction of biodiversity are killing the planet. He added, "There is no planet B." Mr. Trump didn't attend the joint session, but said in a tweet he was looking forward to watching it. The speech comes on the last day of Mr. Macron's visit to the U.S., where he discussed an array of issues including the Iran nuclear deal, the civil war in Syria, counterterrorism and Russian aggression. Mr. Macron has been dubbed by many political experts the Trump whisperer for his ability to sway the U.S. president's thinking. The French president managed to develop a relationship with Mr. Trump closer than the one that has historically linked the UK and the US. Following a joint conference held yesterday, Mr. Trump admitted he likes Mr. Macron a lot. Mr. Macron held his speech to Congress 58 years after the one held in front of U.S. congressmen by the then French President Charles de Gaulle.